Okay, darts fans, welcome back to Belgium, and it's time to take it to the halfway point of Saturday night's action with Snakebite, the world champion, the man who got his 7th European Tour title of his career, to be on his own in the all-time list at 2nd position behind Michael van Gerwen, only 28 behind. But speaking to Peter a little bit earlier on tonight, I said, congratulations on number 7, Peter. His reply was, don't worry, number 8 is just around the corner. And he's up against Niels Zonneveld, who is making only his 2nd appearance in the 2nd round in a European Tour event. And funnily enough, the last time he was in the 2nd round, he played who, Dan Dawson?
He played Peter Wright. Niels Zonneveld versus Peter Wright. It is their only previous European Tour meeting. It was the European Darts Grand Prix 3 years ago, and Peter Wright ran out a 6-4 victor.
There you have it. The tale of the tape, based on what they've done on a stage like this before. But
First leg, Niels to throw first. Game on.
Niels has got the ball in the practice room. He starts in the odd-numbered legs. And I thought it was rather amusing as well, Dan, that when we saw him earlier, the first thing he said
60.
after that little thing about number 8 being around the corner, he remarked about wearing black and white tonight, and he knows us really well. And he said, oh, this is for you guys because your football teams are both black and white.
Yeah, well, he's never been shy of playing up to a crowd, has he? And I'm surprised he hasn't come out in Belgian colours, to be honest, although he's forgotten his hair dyes, so I think he's very limited to black, white, grey in the colour scheme this weekend. So
the palette is a little bit limited.
Yes, it is.
Well, this is a very 2016 type of setup, this, just before he won the UK Open in 2017. He was
95.
first person to make 2 UK Open finals without winning it, of course. And one of the years he lost in the final, it was a setup very similar to this.
Well, he's convinced that he can score very, very heavily with this setup. These sort of tapered barrels. You can see the thinking behind it.
He's gone with the old one-piece flight and stem combo as well. He's gone Whitlock, De Souza, Peterson. Yeah,
these are very... I was having a little investigate earlier on. They are a one-piece combo, but they are a very, very thin and lightweight version.
Yeah.
So there are other ones out there that they're just too heavy and it affects the flight of the dart. But these are... There's hardly any difference.
Are these the ones that have actually got a canal? You can actually see the streamlining of that stem. They're not cylindrical.
No, they've got a sort of... yeah, it's more polygonal than round.
That's word of the day. Polygonal.
I'm not even sure I'm using it correctly.
I'm sure you are. You're smarter than all of us.
Well, what a competition to win.
Well, if there was going to be a competition for 108 checkouts, Niels would win it. Ooh.
The last dart was great, but the second dart was the key one. That was a very difficult one, and Peter Wright acknowledges that was a heck of a checkout.
Well, if anybody's going to hit that shot, it's going to be Zigzag. I love how he's embraced it as well.
Yeah.
Triple Z. Love that.
100.
She seems to be embracing that. See how the Belgian crowd react to losing their number 1 and Mike De Decker, of course. In short order, it is now all on Kim Huybrechts, and he has to take out Michael van Gerwen if we're going to have a Belgian player in the final day of the Belgian Darts Open.
And they will want one, but...
Definitely will, but
140.
I think they'll still be providing great support if they don't have a Belgian player, but obviously, well, we've seen it before. It's always adds a bit of extra spice to have one of the host nation players
100.
in the running in the final day.
Yeah, of course it does. And Peter knows all too well how to break the hearts of the Belgian crowd, because he's beaten Kim Huybrechts in Belgium before in Hasselt in the European Championship when he was dressed as a ghoul because it was Halloween.
140.
That was actually one of his better efforts, in my opinion, that orange and black number with the 3-pronged beard. I love that one.
Yes, it was Hasselt one year where he'd gone in the full vampire get-up as well, with fangs and blood.
That was a great effort. It's a bit like John O'Shea, if he makes the Worlds, I want him to be in full Joker regalia. Oh, is he going 21 bull?
He tried that the other weekend. I think it might have been against Jim Williams in the game that he lost to it, possibly the following weekend when he went on to win his first Euro Tour title for 5 years. Bull 21 bull, bull 777 bull.
130.
Just a quick check from ViewWare to make sure that he got the right score there. He did. Peter Wright will be looking at tops, and he is using tops as his preference at the minute.
That's ominous. We'll get onto that in a second. Double 10 is good, but maybe this is part of the autumn game plan to try and use tops effectively for a major he's not won.
That is exactly the plan. He's going to be starting on tops at the World Grand Prix, and therefore in August, when he was out of hospital doing his practice, getting ready to come back, he said, right, tops it is, that's what I'm going to use. And so he's been going to tops at every available opportunity. In fact, one of the rare times when he's had a choice of a double, and he has gone to double 16, it was in the last leg decider against Jim Williams in Budapest, Hungary, where he missed that double 16, lost the game, and the first thing he did when he walked off stage was come and say, why did I do that? I'm trying to leave tops.
Default mode, because he has been a 32 shooter most of his career.
Well, it is only one of 2 games he's lost since he's come back. He lost to a brilliant performance from Michael Smith at the World Series finals. Still averaged over 102 himself, Peter Wright, in that one. He lost that game to Jim Williams, having mismatched darts.
140.
But every other game since, he's won, and he's averaged a ton since his return.
Yeah, he looks very good. Bit slender as well.
100.
He is definitely ready to start ticking a few more boxes, and he's at the stage of his career, a bit like Gary Anderson was maybe 2 or 3 years ago, where he was looking at a chart of the majors he'd won and thinking, right, what have I not won? What can I target?
45.
Now it's the Slam. He hasn't won that. Neither has Gary, and that is the one he probably wants the most. Grand Prix. There's not much else. He's won the Euros, won the Worlds, won the Players,
100.
won the UK Open. He's won the World Series. Hasn't won the World Series finals.
No.
But it's not a great deal of stuff he hasn't won, and he has been really close at winning that Grand Prix before.
Well, looked like he was going to, didn't he?
Yeah.
Michael van Gerwen final. It was 2 all in sets. He should have been 4-0 up.
Correct. Every now and again, when he's using that setup, he gets a dart to dive. If he doesn't throw it hard enough, it just gives up in the air. And Zonneveld is on his tail here in leg 3. Oh, look how good that is. Back up top. And there's another one of those darts that just under-delivers and misses by about a centimetre. It's a very, very strange leg of darts, which could be won in 7 visits. And it has been. Zonneveld using up lives right there. There's no way that shouldn't have been a break of throw.
Peter Wright has reached the final of every single major tournament in existence. He has won a whole load of them. Needs a Grand Prix, needs a Grand Slam, needs a Premier League and a World Series finals to tick those off the list.
Well, he should have won the Premier League and he should have won the Grand Prix.
Well, yeah, exactly.
I mean, this is so critical of us. I mean, considering he's had a Hall of Fame career already, but we know how he operates. This is all courtesy of an interview he did with the Dart Show, because when he was in his dart room, he said, I've made this little section of my dart room for the World Championship trophy, and all of the runners-up trophies have been put in boxes. I'm only keeping the winners' trophies now. And after that, he started winning majors. It's a mentality.
Well, I think, and look, I said this all the while before he became world champion. You look at the major finals that he has lost. He has only lost to Michael van Gerwen, Phil the Power Taylor, Gary Anderson,
81.
Undisputed all-time greats of the game. He's lost a couple now to Gerwyn Price, and I think people are starting to come round to the opinion that he is firmly establishing
59.
himself as one of the greats of the game.
I don't think there should be any doubt about that.
Well, we'll see. He's still very early on in his career, but look at the amount of major titles that he's won already.
140.
Correct. And he's got plenty of Grand Slams. He's got 3.
Yeah, he's just not sharing him around. Gary and Peter would love one.
Well, 60 now, with not much room for Peter.
94.
He can't do what Niels did
Niels, you require
on a block treble
160.
downstairs, but this would be some shot to get a break himself. Doesn't give a great deal away, Niels. He's a good stone-faced player, but
58.
showed a bit of spirit
You
yesterday
require 80.
when he took out Alan Suter. Wasn't a classic, but he was definitely the better player of the two. Double 10 again for Wright.
60.
Ooh, another chance.
Niels, you require 102.
He's now just 1 out of 6 on the doubles for Peter Snakebite Wright. I like the idea. I think it's a sensible play. He had a decent market, would have left double 11, but a dart at a double is better than no dart at all.
More people are doing it now than ever.
Games from the fourth leg.
Well, the averages are both in the 80s. Peter's first 9 is just a shade over 100. I know how he operates, I know how he thinks, and he can easily put 20 on this. It's just a question of whether
60.
he has to. He might just need a couple of legs in 4-visit range just to get himself that bit of space, and can Zonneveld find a level to trouble the world champion if that
58.
happens?
Yeah, well, if Peter Wright isn't even averaging in the 90s and you played 4 legs, yeah, all right, you're playing the world champion and it's 2 apiece. You think, I'm in the game. But you're also thinking, it's unlikely he's going to carry on playing like this, and maybe I should have made a bit more hay in these early stages.
Yeah, that's about as natural a mohawk as I've seen from Snakey in the last 8 years.
Oh, he sometimes has the old the sort of floppy mohawk.
Oh, the slick back.
Yeah, just, yeah.
This is just, I can't be bothered with the paint. I'll just go au natural but spiky.
Yeah.
Bit of Zig-Zag Sputnik. Remember them from the 80s?
No, I don't.
Oh, they had
134.
They had a big hit alongside that movie Ferris Bueller's Day Off back in the 80s. I thought that was a bit of you.
Look, I'm aware of it.
60.
But I wasn't even 10 years old by the time the 80s finished.
I think the song was called Shoot It Up as well. It'd be a really good walk-on song for somebody.
There we go.
There's a freebie for somebody out there, because you know that Peter's not going to change his. His is iconic. Come on, Niels, 3 tops.
Doesn't get a dart. And Peter Wright, this will be 10 for tops. Unless he's going to change his MO. No, it will be that.
Yeah, very good. It is a break of throw in this match finally. And I remember when Mark Webster told me he was really gunning for a Grand Prix title. And he said within 5 weeks maybe of the Grand Prix, so late August, started to spend hours on tops. And if you're going to get yourself ready for a Grand Prix, one of the best things you can do is to practice your starts, your rhythm of your starts. So my best way of practicing for the Grand Prix was playing 301 double start all the time, because you're getting used to the finishing element and the starting element and the different intricacies with the rhythms. And playing lots of legs as well, just getting it into your brain about starting on the double.
Well, it is one of the most intriguing tournaments of the year, but he's also one with some of the highest capacity for hilarity. People forgetting to start on a double. People getting brushed, people nearly getting brushed, and then coming back to win legs. All of these things offer chances for hilarious outcomes. Remember Mark Dudbridge?
It's almost that time of year where that comes onto social media, Andy.
60.
Yeah.
Who was the last person to forget to go for a double? Because Terry Jenkins did it once.
That's a good. I was nailed on Jose was going to do it, but I don't think he has. And this is suddenly changing because Peter Wright took out double top for a 15-darter in the last leg, kicked off 180, sees the next leg off in 11, on double top again, and all of a sudden Peter Wright has gone from toddling along an 89 average, and now it's up towards the 100 because the real world champion has turned up, and Niels Zonneveld, because he didn't make him pay early doors,
60.
might be in trouble.
I did tell you that there might be a period in this match where he finds 2 legs of 4 visit level, and that would give him that breathing space that he needs to just get the job done. Well, there is one of them in 11, in leg 6.
Hitting double top, throwing loads of 180s. It's a good recipe.
It's a good recipe for success at the Grand Prix. I mean, look at MVG, look at Thornton.
Thornton's strength on double top was the main reason for him winning the World Grand Prix.
Oh yeah, I mean his likelihood of hitting tops in his pomp, it was mythical.
Yeah. I mean his victory over Michael van Gerwen at the World Grand Prix in the final, the back end of that game, he was barely missing. He was getting off first and second dart almost every single leg.
100.
Are you of the opinion, because I think you know my stance on this, do you think that maybe we should have another double start event, maybe on the floor for a few days, or maybe a European Tour event with just double start? But I know there are people who think that because this is qualifying for the European Championship, it should stay straight start leg play.
Yes. And I think that if you wanted another double start tournament, I think the natural choice would be the Masters, seeing as you get in the top 16 or top 24 players in the world. They're all good enough. Let's mix it up. But now you've made that almost a qualifier for the Premier League. Maybe the argument is not, because it is a bit of a leveller.
The time to do it, for me, was when we had 2 Players' Championships before Dublin. Have those double start would have made things a bit more interesting. Good warm-up double start tournaments. Oh, this is perfect.
Ooh, couldn't follow it.
88.
There again, he's going for the treble 8. So it's everything to leave tops. Dan's completely right. Speaking of tops, lefties on 10s, surely.
50.
But not this time.
Even moved back to the centre of the oche as well, wasn't lazy.
Tops again. He's getting a lot of looks at tops and 10s.
36.
Mixed emotions.
Niels, you require 10.
To get back within 1. And again, it could be a 7-visit leg against the world champion. Not something I thought I would say tonight. It's a little bit better than leg 3, which was 21 darts, but all the same, he's surviving.
He doesn't look happy, Niels. He's not qualified for Gibraltar, but to be honest, qualified for the European Championship, you have to go and make the final here. And even then, that's probably not enough. I think he might have to win the title. So I don't think he's coming here with realistic hopes or too great hopes. Obviously, he's here to try and win the tournament, but he's not here thinking that's a main priority. He's here just to try and win some games and do something he's not done before. And beating Peter Wright would be one of those things. And he's still in with a chance of doing it, but it's rather largely down to Peter Wright not putting him away.
Now, Zonneveld's in a very comfortable position for the Worlds right now. He's 20th out of 32 qualifiers, but even though he is now leading the 180 race in this match by 2 180s to 1, he's only 2,750 in front of the bubble person, which is John O'Shea. That's not comfortable.
It isn't comfortable, particularly with the Euro Tour to go. We do have a handful of Players' Championship events as well. 4 consecutive days in Barnsley, which will not only be important for the World Championship, but it will be the last chances to qualify for the Players' Championship Finals, a tournament which Peter Wright won last year, of course. And he again looks at tops.
I thought that was going because that single 8 was so good. We take the singles for granted, but that single 8 was right in the middle. It's usually a good indicator of what comes next, but Zonneveld could, by hook or by crook, be level.
This will be for an 11 dart. Oh, what a leg of darts from Niels Zonneveld. Look at that. Blue steel from Zigzag down the camera.
He was like Lurch there, wasn't he?
Yeah, that's probably a better comparison.
Just the tiny little nod. Well, one thing's for sure. Ross Smith wants Peter Wright to win. Because there are only 2 people left in this tournament who can knock Ross Smith out the Grand Prix. One is Zonneveld. The other one is Crutchmer, who plays Adrian Lewis in match 7 tonight.
100.
If they both lose tonight, Ross Smith can breathe easy after what was a torturous game with Jose de Sousa this afternoon.
Yeah, what a contest that was.
57.
Great first dart. Not a bad second.
He really has improved technically over the last couple of years. When he first joined the tour, he was pretty raw. But what he's doing now is he's staying still when he's throwing. He's got that tiny little rock forward and to his right. But that movement has minimized. He's becoming a better thrower.
Well, this looks like it might be happening. Because Niels Zonneveld,
95.
a kind of pedestrian opening 4 legs. He got there at 2-2. But as I said, it looked like Peter Wright had then clicked into gear. But the misses at double have allowed Niels Zonneveld back into the match. And he is starting to take control. And it could be back-to-back 4-visit legs. In fact, it doesn't need to go in 4 visits now. Is this wise? It is very wise. He could have found himself in problems there, but it does not matter. And Niels Zonneveld is giving it some.
This is about as confident as I've ever seen him. I said he doesn't give a lot away, but he's giving more away than ever. But right now, he's probably like a swan, showing not a great deal, but under the surface, I bet that heart's pumping a bit.
Well, we saw Keane Barry, another very talented young player, go up against one of the stars of the sport in Johnny Clayton, and he got himself a match dart. And it was an agonising defeat in the end, a 5th defeat out of 5 to the Ferret for Dynamite Keane Barry. Niels Zonneveld is putting himself in a position where he may get a chance to beat Peter Wright.
We talked earlier in the match, Dan, about that 6th leg when Peter Wright went in 11 darts. Since then, Zonneveld has thrown 42 darts to win 3 legs.
60.
That's a 14 dart average of 107 and change. That is a world-class burst.
It has, but he's had to survive 3 darts over 2 separate legs from Peter Wright in that burst. Because, yes, he has upped it, but Peter Wright, his average is now up to a ton, where it's been all the way through since he returned from his break in August. He has not played poorly in this game, but Niels Zonneveld has found a way to have a chance to beat him, but it looks like it's going to have to be a last leg decide.
With Zonneveld throwing first. Peter's got to take care of 12s first.
57.
And that's the trade-off with those tapered barrels. If that was his straight barrel that he used at the match play last year, that was in. But with the tapered numbers, he scores better because they do get closer. This time it's got to go, maybe. And it does.
Well, it is a 1-leg shootout for a spot in the final day of the Belgian Darts Open. Johnny Clayton prevailed against Keane Barry. I'm just trying to figure out if Niels Zonneveld, if there's any sort of antipathy towards Peter Wright here. Oh, Oh, I see. That's what it's about.
Game on.
Well, you know what? You don't have to bump fists. And if you want to focus on your own game, I've no problem with it. But you are going to have players who don't like it, and they'll take offence.
I love it.
100.
It's all right sitting down here.
And you could make a case that perhaps you'd be more forgiving of Niels Zonneveld, an up-and-coming young player, if he was going to want to focus on this last leg decider in eschewing that handshake or fist bump, than the 52-year-old multiple world champion. But at the same time, it shows that Peter Wright is giving this leg of darts as much concentration as if he was playing Michael van Gerwen in the World Championship final.
Absolutely.
95.
It's not in the rules that you have to do that. It's just an unspoken etiquette. Now, it takes me back to the UK Open. I think it was 2011 when James Wade was playing Dave Prinz.
95.
They had genuine arguments about no handshake before the last leg. And people were just saying, you don't have to.
No, you don't. But look, do what you want. You're there to play darts.
136.
And Niels Zonneveld is playing some excellent darts. He leaves a finish after 3 visits to the board. And why? Let's spin this narrative. He's annoyed him. He's made him angry. It's fired him up to produce a brilliant last leg. And Peter Wright is going to have to shake his hand in a minute, whether he likes it or not.
Well, he doesn't have to.
No, he doesn't actually. But he might be doing it. Oh, he's going to go for this, surely. Oh, that would have been great.
But he wanted it really badly. That 5 makes things a bit more awkward. If Snakebite gets a 140 here, things are very interesting. Got to go 25.
65.
Bare minimum.
Niels, you require 85.
Now, the stats say don't go for the ball at the end of this if that's the only option you've got. On 167, but do you do that in the last leg decider against the world champion? He's going to go for the 16 segment, and it leaves him double 9 anyway for the match.
67.
Well, Andrew Gilding missed this to beat Dimitri. He ended up beating him anyway. You've had 2 6-5s already tonight and a 6-4. This one is out of range for Snakebite. And Zonneveld, who's already had a match shot,
100. Niels, you
has a
require
decision to make.
18.
Does he go straight at it, or does he split it? Again, the stats say you're better off going straight at it, but how do you feel, Niels? You feel like a winner! He's just beaten Peter Wright for the first time in his career. No fist bump before the final last leg decider. There's a handshake at the end, and it's one that Niels Zonneveld deserves. He takes out the world champion, and he's through to the final day of the Belgian Darts Open. And 2 unseeded players will collide. It'll be either Zigzag Zonneveld or Goldfinger Andrew Gilding, who goes through to the quarters here in Visa. Drama at the October Hallen.